Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Barbed Wire Bite. Here with always with your host, Pitbull #1, Gary Wolf.
Yes, what's up, guys? What's happening?
I guess before we get into the big news, we have to start in the beginning of the AEW pay-per-view.
Yeah, long show.
I'm pulling up so we give it a quick review. I'm going to pull up this card. This thing started at, sorry about that, I'm connecting lights. This thing started 6 o'clock my time, 7 Eastern, started the pre-show, which you had to watch because it had Hookhausen.
Yeah.
Punk and Hangman didn't hit that ring till almost 11:15. I mean, we're talking a 5-hour plus show. I was tired.
Oh, yeah, I was drained. Yeah, you're right. I mean, he came out so late, and then I watched Friday's show last night. I couldn't believe when CM Punk came out of the dressing room to the ring. That belt looks so big on him. That's how small he is. Look at the size of that belt on him. It was like looking like it was gonna fucking make him fall over. That's how heavy it looked, you know.
But what did you think of the opening match? Hook and Danhausen against Smart Mark Sterling, who I don't know how he has a job, and Tony Nese. I like that Taz came out to commentate during it, because I give credit. That's his boy, it's his son. He's calling his first pay-per-view match, even though it was undercard. That's a nice touch. What'd you think of that match?
I thought they worked good. I mean, I have no problem with Hook. He's got good skills. I'm not gonna stop. The only thing I think is experience. And that's what he's getting now is experience. That's how I look at it. And he's getting experience better than anybody else can. You know what I mean? Because he's where he's at. So, I mean, as long as he keeps working guys that are better than him, he's only going to get better. Because at this point, he's not at the level where he could call a match yet. There's no way. There's just no way yet. It takes 6-7 years, man, before you pick that up. That just goes without say. Back when I first started in the business, I remember Vince wouldn't look at you unless you had 7-6 years in the business. He's not even interested in you then, And it's true. I mean, I figured it out. I mean, I didn't start getting it until later, and that comes later, I thought the Friday night match with the Young Bucks opening the show was an unbelievable match. But they just did too much, man. It was just too much. For me, it was too much. They could have went home so many different times, and then they did that finisher at the end. And after all these double moves and crazy spots they did, what's the finish? 2 double knees, and then it's 1, 2, 3. It's like they made the guy look like Superman because he was kicking out of everything, the Lucha Brothers. You know what I'm saying? They were just kicking out of everything. And I was surprised. It was good that they took what's-his-name's mask off because that let him lay there. He technically in Mexican tradition, you don't want to lose that mask because you can get a lot of money for a wrestling match in Mexico to drop that hood, to drop your mask. You'll make $3,000, $3,500 easy. Back in the day, I remember that was me and my partner had Pitbull masks. We were in Mexico back in the day, and they were like, all right, the tour's almost done. We're going to have you drop the straps, and you're going to lose your hoods. But we got paid for it, and it was great. And that's how they do it over there. So it was a good finish, but it just didn't. I think they could have went home at any other spot. They could have went home, and it would have made more sense to me than do the double knee. And he's kicking out of all these power moves and crazy ass spots, and then that is the finish. It was a good roller coaster ride, but then it just died at the end. That's how I look at it.
What do you think of Danhausen in his pay-per-view debut? What do you think? How do you think he looked? I know he hit a Hurricane Rana, maybe a couple other moves. He's a comedy wrestler.
That move, it's not the person, it's the person taking it who's really doing everything. He's holding you up and everything. So
I see them getting the straps.
No.
Hey, that's they had that. And then now we're an hour in, and we go to the opening match. An opening match right there. Now the big story there was MJF no-showed the fan event the day before, so people were like, "This has got to be a work. This is Brian Pillman, CM Punk, Pipebomb." But MJF did show up. He fought Wardlow. If Wardlow wins, he gets the contract. And MJF, he did a job and a half. It was the shortest match on the pay-per-view. It was probably like 6-7 minutes. Wardlow beat the shit out of him, 10 power bombs. MJF didn't do anything. He just got his ass beat and stretched it out.
That was a hell of a promo, though.
His promo was good. But the thing that makes it look phony, though, is like Wardlow wins. This is just my opinion. Wardlow wins. Tony Schiavone stands there, and they put the thing on the marquee. Wardlow is all elite. It's like, well, then they already knew he was going to win. You know, it's just little things like that, I think, that they do that's kind of silly.
Yeah. Yeah, Wardlow did beat the shit out of him. I mean, but people wanted to see that.
Yeah.
I mean, they made the people happy. That's how I look at it, because
it's a 3-year build.
Yeah, I mean, the fans were ecstatic to see him get his ass kicked, and that's all they wanted.
I was ecstatic because it was short, because for some odd reason, the next match, and I really want to know your thoughts because I have a weird thought. The Hardys took on the Bucks, 20 minutes and 15 seconds. That's a long. Now, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, this match exposed Matt and Jeff Hardy for as banged the fuck up, especially Jeff is there. The Bucks did everything.
They did. I mean, this is the Hardy's got to be. This is like their last little hurrah, dude. This is their last run. You got to remember, their bodies are beat the fuck up, man. Jeff, every time he does that finish, he kills his back. Matt, you watch him in the ring, he can barely walk. You know, I know my knees are bad. I don't know what's his look. I don't know if it's his hip or it's his knees, but you got to remember, those guys put a lot of fucking time on the road, man. Those guys, not counting Jeff's party, you know what I mean? I mean, that's insane as it is. I mean, the stories that I've heard between him and Just Incredible and shit that they used to do. They're crazy. But yeah, this is their last hurrah. I mean, I noticed they're even on indie shows. Everywhere they can get booked, they're getting booked just so they could, you know, this is their last hurrah, the way I look at it.
I thought it was nice that the Bucks put them over.
That's good. That was a good thing.
That's their heroes. You know, they let them win. But yeah, I'd never, because I liked the Hardys when they used to fight Edge and Christian in the 90s and everything. But watching that match, I was like, every time Jeff would hit a move, he would just limp. He was in so much pain. Matt Jackson did. I mean, it was like they were fighting two sticks. I mean, to me, it showed how good the Bucks really are. I know a lot of people hate them. I like them.
Listen, the Bucks are the best tag team out there. Okay, I mean, I have to say that because I was a tag team. I trained to be a tag team, and I watched them, and the way they work, it's great. I'm not gonna lie. They click together. They know what each other one is thinking at the same time. I mean, they have to know that just by watching them work. Like, they don't even have to talk to each other. They can just set something up. The other one already knows what to do. It's that easy, and that's how good they are. That was a really good match, the Hardys and, you know, the Young Bucks. I've been waiting for that match.
I thought the match after it stunk. That was Jade Cargill, who I don't like, against Anna Jay, who I think is gorgeous, but is a terrible worker. I didn't like it. I don't really like AEW's girl matches much, to be honest with you.
I noticed the change, though. Did you notice there's a change?
It's more WWF style girl matches now.
Like, they're bringing in that Hogan chick. They just brought that Hogan chick in. And I think she was in TNA or something like that, or something. She was doing one of them gimmicks. But yeah, the girls' matches have gotten a lot better since. I don't know if it was because what's her name was running it. I'm not sure. I think Dustin may be running the whole thing now. To be honest.
I think for a while Omega did, because that's why he brought in all the Japanese women's wrestlers. To me, that style of theirs just doesn't fit. It doesn't work here for some reason.
Nah. Well, they're doing business with New Japan, so that's a good thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure the next big show they do and they use New Japan guys, I'm hoping that they format it a little bit different because that could be a great, great show. As long as it's not too long and, too drawn out, but they're going to have a lot of fucking good workers. Like I met, last weekend, I met Rocco Romero, I guess his name is.
Oh, yeah.
He wears the eye patch.
Nice. Yeah, I never got that. He wears an eye patch.
Dude, he was the nicest guy. Like I was sitting there, we were on standby, getting ready to go out to the ring, and he happened to be up there. And I was like, yo, and he turned around, looked at me, he said hello. I said hello. I said, fuck, I love your shit in Japan. I said, you're perfect for it. You know what I mean? You look, you're the way it changed, you know what I mean? I know they're not making the money we were making back in the day, but at least they got a lot of work over there, which is a good thing. And he was on an independent show, and I didn't realize he's very little. They're very small guys, man. You don't realize that. Like I'm used to being in Japan with Stan Hansen and, Bam Bam Gordy and Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader, those kind of guys, the big guys, Yokozuna, Samu,
Norton,
Wild Samoans, shit.
Yeah, I it'll be interesting, like you said, as long as it doesn't go 6 hours. Then the next match, I thought it was long. I expected better, but it was good. It was the House of Black against the Death Triangle. The whole thing was the setup for Julia Hart. I'm sorry, I blame Paul Heyman for this. The goddamn lights going off. Fucking Paulie got it to where the lights were going off every goddamn show. Now Tony Khan's got the lights going off every show, and Julia Hart, I think, is gorgeous. And she's funny.
Yeah, for the lights to go off, I mean, you need somebody like Terry Funk. You know what I mean? Somebody like Abdul Butcher. Lights go off. Lights come on. There's Harley Race. I mean, something like that. You know what I mean? It's like Aleister Black. I'm not saying he's a bad worker. I love the gimmick. I think that's an awesome click that they have there right now.
I love the Death Triangle. I mean, those are three of the most talented wrestlers in the world. Pac might be pound for pound the most talented wrestler in the world.
They are. All three of them are great workers. Like, I don't understand how in the hell would Vince McMahon let the one guy go.
Malachi?
Forget his name. He was actually dating Alexa Bliss in the beginning of it back in the day. And then Vince was going to let him go. He's from Australia. And, his work visa expired. I don't know if you remember watching the Bellas back in the day when they were doing that. They had the girls wrestling show. Yeah, but I'd see it here and there. I'm not gonna lie, Miz and Mrs. is fucking hilarious.
And my wife likes it, and I like the Miz. The Mrs. Wife.
Miz is fucking hilarious. He makes me laugh, man. So to me, it's funny. I like that show. I think that's hilarious. But I remember when she was going out with him and she was like breaking up right on fucking television, man. The poor kid. He was so young then. He was still working for NXT. They didn't even bring him up yet. And they were getting ready to send him home because his work visa was expired. And I think he was trying to get her to be like, oh, yeah, you can live with me and blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that was happening, man, at that point. She gave him the big boot. Her head got real big at that point, and she gave him the boot. But he's a hell of a worker, man. He's a hell of a worker. I don't understand how Vince had him and just let him go.
Would you turn the lights off for Julia Hart, though? I mean, I think she's gorgeous, but
no.
But here's what I don't.
And it didn't get the pop that it should have got for a lights out thing. I mean, come on, they're just trying to build it up too much, and you have to let her get herself over instead of you trying to get her over.
Here's what I don't get. So the Mist, that's Green Muda. I think it started in Japan, the Mist and the Missing Link. So how come Malachi Black, he spits mist into Pac's face? Pac is blind only for a month, but he's blind. And he spits it in Penta's face. Oh, and Penta's fine the next week. He spits it in this fucking Julia Hart's face. 5 months, she's fucking wearing an eye patch, and she's still got stains on, like she can't take a shower. The Mist to me was always, when I was a kid, and the guy be blinded, they'd hit the finish. Apparently, Malachi Black and these people have mystic powers because it either leaves you completely blind or it disfigures you for. Now, think about this. And tell me what you think. Julia Hart, been scarred for months now from taking the spit. 3-4 months. Eddie Kingston gets a fireball thrown in his face. He doesn't have a single fucking burn mark on it. It's weird to me.
It is. But you are correct. Most of the time anybody used the mist, it was time to go home.
Yeah.
So they're using the mist and they're continually going. It doesn't make any sense. But I like the gimmick. I mean, I like how Malachi does his face now with the black paint. I think that's badass. I like how they wear the masks. I think that faction is badass. I'm not going to lie. I like their gimmick. And like I said, I don't know why Vince would have let him go or Malachi Black go. I don't understand that. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, I look at them and I see good wrestlers, good workers that could work. I don't understand. It's not like you have to, it's not like Ricochet. I'll give you an example. Look at Ricochet. If you watch his matches, he just does these flips and flops all over the place. There's no story. There's hardly any selling. Like when I was watching Friday Night Show, the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers, there was no selling. They're doing these crazy fucking spots that were off the chain, like off somebody's shoulders, off the top rope, and they're kicking out of shit. And then, like I said before, they do a double knee and then they go home 1, 2, 3. It just, I think they could have went home 5, 6 more times earlier before that. And I understand they were in their hometown and they wanted to show off, and they did. What I always say is, like I said, I think too much is too much, and that was way too much. I think less would have been so much better. That's just my opinion.
Well, for me, like the best cage match I ever saw was actually, my opinion, the Lucha Brothers against the Young Bucks. That was when they were that big cage where Lucha won the belt. But Phoenix does this amazing dive off the top of the cage, and they kick out, and they still go for another 5 to 6 minutes. But everybody remembered the jump. That should have been the big jump off the cage.
Should have been the finish.
Yeah, it shouldn't have
Go
kept
home.
going.
They're just making it, like I said, they're making it so hard, man. I don't know how the guys sit in the back to stress that they must be on watching it. If they did it like we did in ECW, we'd all sit in the back. Yeah, we're getting ready to go out, but we're watching the other match because, we want to do better than that match. But if I was in the back and the Young Bucks came up first, I'd be like, holy shit, like, damn, how am I going to follow that? But like I said, the booker, whoever booked the show on Friday did a good job as far as, they put the Young Bucks in, and then the next match was a job match, which brought the people straight back down again. And then they put the girls in next, which they brought new people in. I thought it was a good show, the way they set it up, put it that way.
What did you think of the next match? I hated it. It was Adam Cole, Samoa Joe, the finals for the, I didn't even like the tournament. To me, a tournament, that should have been the fucking pay-per-view. Have your fucking tournament. It's one pay, or split it. Half the tournament Wednesday night, rest of it Friday night. I don't like, Vince does it too with King of the Ring now. I fucking hate it. But Cole against Joe. Adam Cole is the guy that he's done so many jobs, which he should. It's like a sack of fucking milk. He's in such horrible shape. And Joe, 10 times bigger than him, beats the shit out of him.
Dude, you could see that right there, that match right there set Adam Cole up to where you could actually see the size of him next to Joe and how small he looked. And for them to put the Owen Hart gimmick on him and his girlfriend, Britt Baker, I mean, what a work. I mean, come on, man.
Her legs are bigger than his. And I'm not saying she's fat. Her thighs are more muscular than his, for God's sakes.
She's bigger than him.
She's bigger than him.
I think
looks
she
like shit. He doesn't even look like he exercises.
He wants to stay with the Young Bucks. They don't work out much. I do have to admit, a lot of the guys over there seems to be working out. I mean, I'm not going to lie. They're all starting to blow up. I see it. You know what I mean? So obviously, some of the guys are starting to go to the gym and stuff, and I do see that. What's this stuff that I heard last week sometime that Naomi and Sasha Banks just walked out? What is this shit? You know what I mean?
The way I look at it, and everybody gets mad. I always have to say work because Vince McMahon they keep acknowledging it constantly on television. Generally, if you walk out of a company, there's no mention of you. Vince then
So
keep
then
talking about
I'm looking at it, the way I look at it then, I think personally, then it's a big work.
Yeah.
That's all, you know what I mean?
If I walked out of
Maybe
your company,
they said, maybe they needed time off.
yeah,
You know, maybe Sasha and Naomi say, look, we've been on the road for so many times, so many fucking days now. Enough's enough. Dude, I mean, that's the only thing I could think of is they need time off. And they said, let's, go home for 3 months or something. It doesn't make sense.
because you wouldn't acknowledge it on TV.
No, usually somebody would get hurt and they would use that as an excuse to give them some time off. Unless you're lucky and you have a fucking contract like Brock Lesnar or Rob Van Dam would have back in the day. You work 75 days out of the whole year. That's beautiful, man. You can't beat that, dude. And making that kind of money.
Now, then they had, after Cole's pitiful match, then they did the Britt Baker, Ruby Soho. I like Britt. I think Britt can talk good. Ruby Soho is very good. But once Cole won, you knew she was going to win. There was no suspense. I didn't think the match was that great.
It was all right, like I said. But I think the girls are doing better than they were. I got to admit that.
Martha, what the fuck was she wearing? Martha Hart. What the fuck kind of hat was that on her head? She looked stupid. And then she rambled on for 20 something goddamn minutes. And instead of giving them trophies, they give them fucking belts. Or do they defend the belts? Or do they just wear the belts for a year until there's another tournament? It didn't make sense to me.
I saw a picture where they both had big trophies.
Yeah, they had the trophy, but they also got belts to wear. Remember, he got a purple and she got a pink. Yeah, they each got like a title belt to wear. It's like,
it's like the company's giving them a belt to make them happy.
Yeah.
It's like what we had to do in ECW. We had to make the FTW belt for Taz because he had to have a belt. He always wanted a strap, and he wasn't going to be happy until he had one. So,
well, now if you give someone a title, then I'm assuming they're going to wear it. So is every match they're in defending the title? You can't defend a tournament win. I didn't get, and then Tony Khan walked out with Martha and he kisses her and all on the cheek, and she rambles on, and it just
it was too much. It was like they were trying to rub it in his face.
Obviously, she ran out, and people are going to get mad at me. This is just me saying it. She must have ran out of all the money she got from Vince to be doing this now.
Way. Could she have gone through that? Yep, dude. You know how much money hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, and if you think about it, though, I mean, like, now there's going to be an Owen Hart figure. Owen Hart's going to be in their game. She's getting a check for that. And what is she a fucking doctor of?
But I'm glad she's getting a check. I mean, that's cool. You know what I mean? I was on the road with Owen, so I know how he was. Most of the thing he cared about more than anything is his family. I mean, he made sure he got money home. He would not spend money just so he could make sure he was able to send money home. He wouldn't go out and drink and blow his money. He would keep his money because he had to give it to his family. That's just how he was. And he was always like that. He had kids, man. I can't remember when I met him, I was 19, 20 years old, if that, and he already had kids and stuff. So he had responsibilities. You know what I mean? Me and my partner, we weren't even married, or I don't even think we had girlfriends at that point, maybe, we were just trying to get in the business,
Do you and see? I think that's what makes me mad. Like you said it, it's almost like a fuck you, Vince. Because I get if she doesn't want to have anything to do with Vince. I don't blame her in the least.
I don't think Vince did enough. I don't think Vince did enough because it was the disgrace what happened. Mm-hmm. Number one. Number two, I mean, they had guys up there that weren't the original guys. Owen didn't know these three guys that were up there. He's used to the other guys who were the crew, who handled that stuff. They were professionals. These guys weren't professionals. It was a mess, man. It was horrifying.
I think I would have just been happy not seeing her again. Because it's like, we're honoring the legacy. It's like, that's really nice, but You're honoring the legacy of a guy that never worked for you. There's something about it doesn't make, like you said, it's almost
It's
like
like they're doing it on purpose because it seems to me like Vince ain't doing nothing. So then AEW figures, well, we'll do something. You know, I mean, Vince does everything with as far as the Andre Giant Rumble. And then they got the Dusty Rhodes statue. I don't know what they're doing with that next. I'm sure they're going to do something with Cody when it comes to Dusty. You know, that just goes without say. That's just another way of Vince making money. I just, like I said, I'm sure they paid Cody a lot of freaking money, man. That's the only thing I can think of. And for him to get back on the road and do that schedule and not be home, and I don't know. See, I haven't really been watching Vince, you know, and honestly, I just haven't. And I remember the first night that he came back, I think they had said that backstage, Brandy was standing next to him, ready to walk out with him, and Vince changed his mind last minute.
They don't want her.
They always listen. They used to do that me and my partner. They would look. We would look at the board and see the match, you know, that we're up, and it would say 10, 15 minutes, whatever. But then when I get up to the curtain and it's time to go out, Bruce Pritchard would always turn to us because he was he was in charge of the monitor. He's in charge of the camera. He's in charge of television. I mean, time is money. You go over time, you're blowing a ton of money, big time. So what he would do is say, okay, you know, the guys before you used too much time, so you don't have 10 minutes no more, Gary. And I'm like a young kid. You're looking at him like, what do you mean? He's like, you got 4 minutes. So it went from 15 minutes to 4 minutes now. So I remember back in the day, because we were young and we were very inexperienced. We were still fucking green. We were just getting experience working for Vince. That's the whole idea why we were there, was to get better. And it was good that, because I always break Bruce's balls about it, but he got me better because by him doing that, you know, it's not like you can run down the hall, grab the guy you're working and say, I need to change everything. You can't do that. So when you get in the ring, it's better because then you can discuss it in the ring and you're like, all right, look, we only got 4 minutes now. So forget about what we talked about. Let's just go to the finish, you know, do 1 or 2 spots and then we'll go home. And the referee's right there because Vince is in the referee's ear. You know, I don't know how he does it, but he must talk to the commentators and then he talks to the referee as well. So every referee, I mean, I always make my referees work because that's their job. You know, I'll tell them to finish. I'll even tell them sometimes remind me. You know what I'm saying? If I forgot, I expect them to remember. You know, that's their job. So I always use my referees, like Jim Molyneux, Keener, all the guys from ECW, like those referees, man, they work their asses off.
What do you think of referee Aubrey Edwards? Jim Cornette recently said she looks like she's playing Invisible Twister with herself and she sticks her horse face in every chance she gets. Do you think she overdoes it with all this?
She's getting what she's doing is getting attention on herself.
Yeah.
And it did work because Vince never had a female referee until now, until just recently. So they're just copying off of AEW and you know, hey, look, it's another job a girl could get and have. That's how I look at it. And that's a good thing.
Yeah, our next match after that was, I liked this match. This was probably my favorite match of the night. It was Top Team, which is Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page, with Paige Van Zant, who gorgeous, not a great MMA fighter, did really, really good, I think, in her match. Took on Kazarian and Sammy and Ty. And I like the story that Sammy was so distracted making out with Ty that Kazarian is getting pissed at him, like, you know, he's missing tags, like, get in there, you dumb shit. And he left him to get beat up. And it's so funny that the Dan Lambert and the Top Team, the heels, people hate Sammy and Ty, and Sammy's so good at playing up that heel role. It was like a flip-flop overnight, but I liked the match. It was 12 minutes long. It was just
That's a good match.
Right time.
That's a perfect match. It was a good match. And they worked hard. I think Gangrel has been training her up in Florida. So I've seen her pop up here and there on the school over there that they do on the East Coast of Florida. So they've been training her.
And yeah, she's really good too.
Oh my, she's a hell of a worker. She's from Brazil, man. She can wrestle her ass off. They don't give her enough. I don't think they give her enough time.
No, she should be the champ, my opinion.
She's a hell of a worker, man. You know what I mean?
Sammy's good. He's a natural heel. He's a cocky, real young, good-looking guy making out with the hot girl you can't have. He can flip. He can talk. I think he's good.
Do you remember what, 2 years ago or a year and a half ago when he brought another girl into the ring
to marry him
and asked her to marry him on television?
Yep, dumped her about a month later for Ty, which I'm a firm believer that that's because he was a babyface, and usually the babyface gets the hotter woman. But I look at his ex-girlfriend and I look at Ty Conte, no brainer to me. Ty's gorgeous. I'd fuck her in front of my wife. I'm ashamed to admit she's a knockout.
I'm telling you, man. That's crazy. But I just feel bad, man. I do have to say something though. I know it's a very fucked up issue, but about these kids that got shot in Texas, bro. Not cool. No. Not fucking cool, man. I don't understand how cops could sit outside for over 30 something minutes and just listen in the gunshots, and nobody has the balls to go into the damn school. I'm watching parents willing to jump the fence, go into fucking school, and the cops are telling them no. I don't understand this, man.
Who was that one guy? He might have been Border Patrol, or I can't remember. A parent. He said, "Hey, my wife and my kid are in that school. Like, well, you can't go in. Fuck you." And he went anyway. And they're talking about charging the guy. It's like,
you charge him. You got to charge these fucking cops. They didn't do their fucking job.
A little girl in that room, that little girl in the room where they're getting shot is calling 911.
They're on the phone. You're right. They're on the phone, 911, and these pigs are sitting there doing nothing. Okay, doing nothing. I don't know if it's because it happened to be a highly Mexican area and nobody gives a shit. That's my attitude. That's how I look at it. I'm like, I don't understand this. You know, I've seen school shooting. I mean, when I was in school, we never in my life had this discussion talking about people going. I would go to my school with my pickup truck, and I had my 12 gauge shotgun in my window of my back of my truck. I would drive to school with my rifle in my truck. Nobody thought about bringing it in school. You know what I mean? We never even had that conversation. It just never came up. And I don't think, and back then, if somebody did come into school with a gun, I think they'd end up kicking his ass and taking the gun from him quick as fuck. Because back then, everybody fought. We always used to fight, you know, in school. I mean, we never tried to kill each other. That just never happened. But when you're talking about 10-year-old kids now, man, that's crossing the line, dude, in my book. I would have shot that kid, that scumbag. Man, I would have shoved that AR-15 up his ass so fucking hard, dude. I don't understand what's wrong. And what pisses me off more than anything, it's just like everything else. These cops knew about this problem. They knew about this kid who had a problem, and they still don't do anything. If you look back at every single thing that's happened with these shootings and all these incidents, the police were already aware of this guy.
We knew this guy. We were watching this guy as a person.
We've been watching this. Oh, so if you've been watching him, you should have known what he was going to fucking do. And what he did was so bad, dude. Horrifying. And then they're going to try to blame it on a teacher because she happened to go outside and pick up her lunch.
Yeah, I left the door open.
I don't hear that shit, dude. It's bullshit. It's just, it's all excuses. It's like everybody's trying to make an excuse to make another excuse, you know? The simple facts are the facts. The cops did not do their job, okay? Yeah, the one cop was in charge and he said, don't go in. I understand they have to listen. I would have not listened. I would have told him to go fuck himself, especially if my kid was in there. There ain't no way in hell I would have sat there and watched. No way. There's no, my kid was in that building or your kid was in that building, you're telling me you would sit there and watch. There's no fucking way. They would have had to shoot me to stop me because I would have went in there and got the guy. That's how I am.
What I don't get, and I'm not a big gun advocate by any means, but let's think about it. You go to a concert, there's armed security. Go to a bank, armed security. Any important person is doing something. Armed security. You go into fucking get food stamps or something. Armed security. Grocery stores, armed security. A school, a sign that says, please don't bring a gun. And a off-duty rent-a-cop with a walkie-talkie.
This is what me and my girl were talking about last night. I feel, this is how we were discussing it. All these veterans that have been in the wars, okay, they put their lives on the line for us, for our freedom. They get treated like shit. So what I suggest is stop worrying about hiring these cops who are sheep. Okay, they're not wolves, they're sheep. They shouldn't even be a police officer. Okay, only wolves should be police officers to keep the sheep in line. They should hire these veterans and have them work in all these schools. I don't see why they can't hire 4 or 5 guys, you know, to work in a school, give them a half decent paycheck, you know, so they could at least get their benefits and they can have this extra money so they can live comfortable instead of struggling and being suffering like everybody else, which is bullshit. The way I look at this country, we're supposed to be the richest country in the world, but we got more homeless people than I think people live in Africa. It's a mess.
Yeah, and if you get like, let's say you get 3, 4 veterans in a high school, even a tough high school, don't take a genius to figure out 3 or 4 armed guys that have killed people in a war ain't gonna fuck around.
No, I mean, you think about that. Like, I'm gonna go shoot up this school, knowing that there's 4 ex-Vietnam vets in there who will blow your fucking head off in that with middle second of them thinking. Like, they don't have to think about it. Like a cop, he's got to go. He's in his mind worried about, am I going to be able to get home to my kids and my wife tonight? No, those guys don't. They're not thinking about that. They're just thinking, I got to go take this guy down. That's my job. That's what I get paid to do.
And if you don't want them inside the school, that's fine. Couple by the front door, couple in the back. Have them outside guarding the place.
Why isn't these people, what I don't get is every single guy that does attack a school, 9 times out of 10, they're shooting somebody outside the school before they go in.
Yeah.
So if they had somebody outside, they could make all he's got to do, nobody's faster than a radio, dude. I don't care how fast you could run. You can run 22 miles an hour. You're not faster than a radio. So if a guy's on one side, he's like, yo, I'm on the east side of campus. I got some fucking lunatic coming in with an AR-15. He'll be over there in 2 seconds with his boy. And like I said, they're Vietnam vets. So capping this asshole loser kid who's going to be terrified of anybody that they see. I mean, why do you think they end up dying? Because they don't want to fucking live and deal with what's going to happen.
Yeah, they kill themselves, right? When they're done.
Yeah, they either shoot themselves or they get shot. You know, and that's what usually happens. I mean, the one kid that did the Parkland school in Florida back in the day, I mean, he's an idiot. I mean, but at least he's smart enough to admit his guilt and say, look, I'm guilty. You know, I'm not going to waste your money and then put all these parents through hell again, going to court trying to fight this when you admitted your guilt. At least he did that, where these other idiots are going, I plead not guilty. You just shot up a school and killed a shitload of kids and you're going to say you're not guilty. It's like, man, he's just lucky I ain't a guard in that jail where he's at right now. Because I would break a finger every single day. A toe or a finger, I would make his life a living. He would want to kill him. So he would want to die because he wouldn't be able to handle the pressure and the pain that I would put him through.
And that's why they put him in solitary confinement with the prisoners they're afraid other prisoners would kill, like they do the fucking pedophiles and shit. Oh, we can't put them there. They might get hurt. Let's put them here by nobody. It's like you're doing them a favor. Remember when Dahmer, like, go clean that bathroom. There's conveniently no guards there. Murdered. Yeah, that's the way it should have been.
That's like the pagan back in the day that shot the state trooper in New Jersey years and years and years ago. They had this guy. They set him up. They let him out. They let him out for his hour. He was only allowed out an hour a day. He was in solitary confinement. And all of a sudden, he's outside and there's 2 other guys there. Come on. And the guards, no guards to be found. That was a complete setup, man. Absolutely. If you, like I said, you hurt a little kid and you're in jail, bro, you're done. I don't care who you are. Or if you're a cop and you go to jail, you're done. I don't
Yeah,
care
then
who.
you're completely fucked.
I mean, I'm just sick and tired of like looking on TV every day. I got to wake up and hear about a mass shooting every single day. It doesn't make any sense to me. I just heard Philadelphia, and I was just on South Street last time I was in Philly, and it was completely empty. I guess they opened it up this past weekend. What happened? Somebody pulls a gun. I think they said 14 people got shot or injured.
Somebody shot up a hospital last week.
It's insane. That's another shooting right after. I don't understand this. We never had this when growing up.
No.
You know, what was happening besides this when we were growing up? I don't remember.
And the thing that I always kind of, like I said, I'm not a gun guy. And when everybody's like, make it harder, I don't agree that you should be able to buy AR-15s. What are you going to hunt with the fuck? What do you need that for? I do agree there, but my thing is, if you want a gun, you're going to get a gun. Anything you want, you're going to get. You know, it might take you extra time. If you want to get a gun to do something bad, you can find it.
In this world that we live in now, I mean, I remember telling my partner back in the day, because we're from a small town, Hamilton, New Jersey. And I moved to Philadelphia. And I remember when I moved to Philly, I realized anything you want from A to Z, as my friend Johnny Grunge from Public Enemy would always say, A to Z, baby, you can get it in Philadelphia with no problem. One phone call, it'll be at your doorstep. That's how insane it is. So I used to tell my partner, stay in Jersey where you are in Hamilton. I'd rather you stay there, because I just knew how Anthony was, you know? And he would never listen to me. He always, you know, he's like, I'm moving to Philly. You're in Philly, I'm going to be in Philly. I'm like, okay, you know, no problem. I have no problem. And he lived a couple blocks away from me. It was a trip, but it was just at that point, there's just too much things that you can do and get. And it's, if you can't control yourself, shit happens, you know? So.
Now, what did you think, going back to a lighter topic of the show? We had Darby Allin and Kyle O'Reilly. I love Darby. You know, I like Darby. That's a TV match. That didn't need to be on a paper. It didn't need to eat up 15 minutes of time. That's a dynamite match.
Yeah, he took some vicious bumps though, dude.
But why is he jobbing to everybody? He's jobbing to a guy in a fucking tag team.
I don't know. I mean, I know they're giving him a big push. I mean, they put fucking Sting with him, for God's sake. I mean, you can't get any over than that, you know, but he's another one that's got to put some size on, man. He just has to.
He's very small.
He's just too small. I mean, in the spots, like, oh shit, like we were talking before about the Young Bucks and the Hardys. Some of them spots they did during that match, I was even like, ugh, like cringing. Like shit, like wow. I mean, when they hit the steel steps, and you just see how it was bent. That's how hard, you know, Jeff hit that fucker, man.
I hated the next match. Thunder Rosa against, what the fuck is that girl's name? I forgot. Serena Deeb. 17 minutes, 55 seconds. Everybody said it was a good match. Already by then, good match or not good match, I was getting tired.
It was just too much at that point, you know. That's a long pay-per-view, man.
Now, I'll give credit. The match after that did get me back up. It was the Anarchy in the Arena, the Jericho Appreciation Society, who to me looked like a combination of Clockwork Orange and like the New Kids on the Block, and its stupid outfits they were against Regal's gang, Santana Ortiz, Kingston, you know, Mox, and Dana Bryan. Right, the first thing I thought of right away when they're playing Wild Thing and it kept looping, I was like, oh, ECW. New Jack. I get what they're doing, only with not as good a song. But yeah. I didn't think that I liked the match, but you have to do like Vince does. Like we're doing right now on the show. You got to split screen it. You can't keep cutting. You don't know who to follow because they were all separate. They were too separated.
I call that a cluster.
It was entertaining to me. Don't get me wrong.
It was a good match. It was just too much was going on at once. The people never had a chance to applaud one spot because they were already doing another spot before it was too much. That's why I always say, like, too much is it's less is better, I think.
My two big takeaways were what the fuck is up with Jericho's hair? Because he had, I mean, I can't throw stones here.
Yeah,
That's gotta be some kind of extension or something that he wears, because when he took a certain bump, he had like no hair here. I mean, he was, unless that, but the other thing I took away is, and I remember Raven, and I'm pretty sure he did it to your partner. I'm pretty sure it was your partner, Sam, I think your partner. He did a spot in a match where he put ether on,
oh, that was with Anthem.
and he made him pass out because he said,
Dude,
I
that
needed to,
stuff was a shoe ether. You could
yeah,
smell it in the arena. It was so strong.
he got it from a bowling alley, he said. And he was
Yes.
like, and I wanted the crowd to smell it because they would shit on it. Eddie Kingston comes down, it's already a t-shirt, looks great, the visual. He's all bloody, he's carrying a big can of gasoline, dumps it all over Jericho and Brian too, like he's gonna burn him alive. And it was water. The crowd smelled it was water and they shit on it right away.
Wow. No, man. You have to. That's
Yes,
one
that's the
thing,
kind of
Scotty.
smell to
That's
it.
one thing Raven was awesome with, was writing. I mean, he would always go out and he would, even we'd be at a bar, man, and he'd be at the bar writing on a napkin. You know, if it popped in his head, even if we're driving down the highway in another town, if something popped in his head, he would write it down. Because we would end up in the back of the locker room before shows and he'd pull out these napkins. You know, and that's how the Dudleys came about. You know, the Dudleys, it wasn't something that we just came, we came up with the gimmick. We watched Slapshot, me, Raven, and all of us watched Slapshot, and we loved it. We loved the Hanson brothers.
The Hanson
Fucking
brothers.
awesome, bro. So we said, we got to do something like that. We want the Hanson brothers in ECW, but how are we going to do it, And then they would somehow, Scotty came up with the Dudleys, and we had to go through about 2, 4, 6 different Dudleys until we found the 2 Dudleys that we became Dudleys. You know what I mean? And that's Bubba and Devon. And they were the ones that worked out. And if you remember, Bubba couldn't even cut a damn promo back then.
He was the stuttering idiot, and Devon was like the evil brother trying to toughen him up.
Exactly. But look at now all the time that's gone by. Look how good they've gotten from when they started to now. I talk to Devon a lot when I see Devon. He's doing great. He just had heart surgery and he's 100% healthy now. And he used to sit right next to Vince McMahon. I mean, that was his guy, so.
And Bubba can't get a job with any company. That should tell you who can play a game and who can't.
Well, that's because Bubba's a little more outspoken than Devon. That's just the way they are. Bubba will tell you what's on his mind. He don't give a shit. He's going to let it fly. Devon will be more set back and, I'm not going to say that to him. You know what I'm saying? Out of respect.
Yeah.
So it's 2 different, that's how tag teams are. You got 2 different people, you know what I'm saying? So, Bubba's one way, Devon's the other. And eventually, you do clash heads. That does happen. It always happens. But you work around that shit. You know what I mean? You have to work around it. You have to be a team. I always said to my partner, I'm like, look, man, I'm not going to fight over something stupid. You know what I mean? We're a team. We work together. We make money together. I help you. If you're hurt, I'm going to let you stand on the apron that night. I'm going to do most of the work. That was good about being a tag team, is that if we were injured, shit, I mean, I've been injured so many damn times, but he would cover for me. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's what's good about being in a tag team. You always cover for each other.
What do you think that Jericho's team went over? I think that's my complaint. And I guess it is a knock against Jericho if he's the one coming up with these ideas.
I would have put the other guys. I would have put Moxley and Bryan Daniels over instead. That's just me.
He has left these guys laying every week for a couple months. There was no comeuppance, so to speak. It was like, God, you got to lose once in a while.
It's like they're trying to build it up, but nobody really wants to do the job. And it's like, come on, just do it. And then, I mean, even if Chris put him over 4 more times, and then at the pay-per-view, bang, switch it. Nobody's going to remember that they did the job. They're going to remember that Jericho's guys just won a match.
My thing is, and I think Jericho, I think he's talented for his age. He's getting up there, but I think he's good. I think Jake Hagar is the most horrible fucking professional. He might be the nicest guy in the world, but he can't talk. He does not have a good look. He's not charismatic. He can't work. He has no lateral movement. I think he stinks. The other three guys, I think, are all pretty good workers. The one with the square head, I think, is actually kind of funny. The one that like really overdoes the Italian accent, like
Oh, the one that they use it to say we're sports entertainers.
yeah,
I know
like
it's him. It's his voice. I could hear his voice when they say it.
but the other two have no, once again, no charisma. And I watched them lose for over a year to everybody. It's to me, it's a very, very weak gang.
Yeah, that's how it is. I mean, I don't know if people out there know, but I have a new valet. Her name's Nikki Knockout Lee. Hot, smoking. You guys got to check her out, man. She's the next big thing. There's no doubt about it.
I just friended her on Facebook, actually.
Yeah.
Now that match was hot though, but then they had. Now I was tired. And this was a good match. I was tired. Jurassic Express, who need to lose the fucking belts, or Christian just needs to fucking turn on him. It's been going on so long. Against Swerve Strickland, he's okay. Keith Lee, who's I can't believe Vince let that big monster go. Against Ricky Stocks and Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, Jurassic Express retained again. I thought the match was good, but now at this point, I'm trying to stay awake.
Yeah, it was too much. I love that Lee guy. I don't know why Vince let him go. He's a big cat.
And he doesn't
And he
look like a
moves.
fat guy. No, he moves.
Dude, he's got the right facial expressions. I mean, he reminds me of Dusty Rhodes.
And he can jump over the ropes.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand, bro. Like some of the talent that they just had and just let him go. I don't understand that. Why would you put so much money into that guy and then just let him go? It doesn't make sense to me.
In the main event, I didn't know who was going to win. I did. A lot of people thought it was Punk. I thought Paige would hold on to it till Omega, but Punk captured slow match.
That surprised me, dude. I talked to my girl about that last night. I was very surprised that Punk went over. I still think it's too soon to give him a strap.
Because he's just now getting the ring rust off, so to speak.
That's what I'm saying. And he's not just now, and he's already hurt. He's already limping.
Now he wins the match. 25-minute match, not a bad match. I was completely exhausted. We're closing in on midnight, well over 5 hours. But then he has his match Wednesday, teams with the FTR. He was limping a little bit. Turns out he needs surgery. So the summer of Punk, which they were just going to try to recreate anyway, lasted 5 days. And now Tony Khan has to do like the UFC in boxing. We'll have, and it's convoluted as fuck. They're going to do an interim title. And then, that means when Punk comes back, you unify in a ladder match. You hang both belts up. That's the old gimmick there. But, you put the belt on the guy and then, you get hurt. I've been hurt many times in my life, but it's a tragedy. It's a fluke accident. But I mean, think about that. And if he's only going to be gone for like 5 or 6 months, just make up a thing. You're like, have somebody leave him laying and be like, you know what? We stand by him. He's going to keep this title until he comes back and defend it against whoever beats him down. The interim thing to me is dumb, but yeah, he won the title. 5 days later, he had to give it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was too soon for Adam Page to fucking drop it. I would have kept it on him longer. He's a hell of a champ and he's a hell of a worker, and people like him. Cowboy shit, I'm down for that because I used to hear Pitbull shit all the time, shit bulls. That's what they would say to us if we were heels, but we didn't care. We were like, what they would call us Roid Boys and all kinds of shit. You know how that is. I didn't care.
No, and the real big thing then happened a few days later when Maxwell Jacob Freeman, best heel in the business, in my opinion, it was his pipe bomb. He was being Brian Pillman and CM Punk. Cuts the fucking promo of the goddamn decade, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, because everybody's talking. They're all talking about, is Vince going to hire him? Is Vince going to bring him in? Yeah, Vince will probably bring him in just to bury him. Of course, that's what he'll do. He's not going to push him if he brings him in. I mean, unless he has well, you don't have the experience like Cody does. You know what I mean? There's apples and oranges there. You know what I'm saying? As far as ring work.
Did you notice one thing about the promo though? Like when he's sitting there and he's like, "You fucking mark Tony Khan," and they're not beeping him, but he's like,
Dude, yeah.
You hire these WWF people and you pay them more than me, and they can't lace my boots." At that time, the crowd started going MJF, and he turned
Face.
He turned babyface.
He's at
NWO.
I was actually saying that to my girl. He's getting to the point where he's a stone cold now. He's where he could be the biggest heel in the business. You're still gonna love him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's where he's at, and I'm sure that's what he wanted to do. To be honest with you, because that's the goal, is to get over as a heel and be like have the crowd cheer you like a babyface, but you're a bad guy.
DX, NWO, Steve Austin, The Rock. You can keep that same thing, and then instead of trash talking, say, Orange Cassidy, he just starts trash talking Kenny Omega. You just start insulting. Jericho did it. You insult the bad guys instead of the good guys. But yeah, the crowd, like, they turned on Tony Khan. They turned on AEW. They were all into him. And the only thing I got mad then when the mic cut out, it was like, okay, this is the fucking pipe bomb. And it went to black. That made it look even more phony because you'd never let a guy go out with a live mic, not knowing what he was going to say. And if you started fucking up, you go to commercial and cut him right away. But I love that promo. That was one of the best promos I've ever seen.
Gotcha. Yeah, he cut a hell of a promo. And I think most of it was a shoot right off his tongue. I was shocked. Because I looked at my girl like, maybe he wants people to think that Vince wants him. Or he wants people to start talking that Vince wants him. So then when the guys in the office start talking to each other, his name pops up. I mean, he wants that to happen. He wants to get in a bidding war with Vince McMahon because his contract's coming up to re-sign with AEW.
You know what else that reminded me of a little bit? Because Tony Khan loved ECW. Never forget, it was my first angle I saw. Sandman beats Shane Douglas. If I gotta go where I can wrestle, goddamn it, you can all kiss my ass. Puts on the Monday Night Raw t-shirt, walks out the front door. That was one of the best things I ever seen. And it was like, because up until then, companies never acknowledged each other.
Well, how about when he threw the NWA belt down?
Yes.
And pulled up the ECW belt and said, no, this is the belt now.
Shane was
in the back of the locker room, man. I remember Dennis Carluzzo was in charge of the NWA in New Jersey at that time.
He was all freaked out, wasn't he?
His jaw was on the ground, dude, on the ground, in shock that he could not believe what happened.
Shane would, and this is what I don't get. Shane is I don't put Shane over. He was a good talker.
He's a hell of a fucking talker, bro. He's got great mic skills.
Why is he not a coach or an agent somewhere teaching these kids how to talk?
He was an agent. Like, we were sitting there talking about that when we were in the locker room getting ready to go out and work, because I looked at my new valet and I was just like, Nikki, look, you would think we're sitting here getting ready to go out. Two guys are coming up and talk. One's Rocky, okay, who is working for New Japan. He comes up and introduces himself, says hello. He's picking Shane Douglas's mind. He's picking my mind. At least he's doing that. And I sit back and look at all these other guys and, they're like, hi, goodbye. But when I was younger and I had a veteran in my locker room, I would go up to him and pick his mind and pick his brain, and try to get something from him, learn something, or pick up a spot or a secret that they would always do that most people don't know. You know what I mean? That I was always interested in that kind of stuff. And that's why, and I was taught, you go up to a veteran that's in that locker room, you shake his hand, introduce yourself. I mean, I met Kevin Sullivan in the 80s, late 80s. I just started wrestling school, 1989 it was. So between 88, 89, I went to the Monster Factory. In between that year, I went to Florida, to Daytona Beach for spring break. I'm down there with all my boys hanging out. I'm in a gym working out, and there's Kevin Sullivan, okay? He don't know who I am. I'm nobody there. But I remember what Larry Sharp told me. So I went up to him, introduced myself, said, you know, my name's Gary Wolf. I didn't even have a gimmick yet. We didn't even know what we were going to call ourselves yet. I said, I'm going to the Monster Factory. He was just like, that's good. You know, so he was impressed that I introduced myself to him. I wasn't shy, you know, and he was nice enough that he came up to me and my boy after, you know, he was done working out. My boy thought he was going to try to hit me or something, but he didn't know what was up. He's like, hey, he's coming your way. You better be ready. And I remember turning around and Kevin came up to me and said, listen, if you guys, you and your boy want to come by and have dinner at my house. He was married to a woman then. He's like, I'm the only condo on the beach in Daytona. And no bullshit, dude. It was only one condominium on Daytona Beach at that time. He was on the top fucking floor, man. And he was running NWA at that point, if you remember correctly. And he was always on the phone. I remember staying at his house. We had dinner, party, we had a good time, but he was always running back and forth to his room because he was on the phone with NWA and they were going over all these angles and it was pretty crazy. But for him to do that and not even know who I was and just knowing that I was going to be in the business, he opened his door to me. That was fucking fantastic. And that opened doors, that right there opened doors to Don Morocco, who helped me and my partner out. King Curtis from Hawaii, who was unbelievable helping us out, getting us work. We became like this with the Samoans, Jimmy Snuka. I call him my uncle. You know what I mean? That's how tight we ended up becoming. So
I wonder how Kevin.
everybody
and I
has
like
to,
Kevin.
like everybody, I mean, I don't care who you are, somebody has to open up a door for you in this world. I mean, it just makes sense to me. You know what I mean? It's hard to do shit on your own. Everybody needs a little help. You know, I don't see the problem with that. You know, if somebody's on top and they're helping somebody come up, that's a good thing, I think.
It's more money if everyone's at the end of the day.
If you look at it, that I'm not gonna lie, when I was in ECW, we would give tryouts to guys all the time. Every town we would be in, we'd sit around the ring before the show, relaxing, and there'd be guys there coming in, showing us what they have. And some guys were unbelievable. You know, we had to like say, all right, sit down, we got to talk to you. But what was cool was Paul left it up to us. You know, a handful of us would sit around, you know, and we would watch these guys work. And if we didn't like them, we would be very blunt and we would tell them, look, this is what you're doing wrong. I don't think you should do that. I think that sucks, or I think that was great. And usually if you did well that night, you knew it because you were on the show that night. And that was one of the things that a lot of guys that were coming up were happy about is ECW gave them that chance to get their foot in the door, you know, even if no other company would give them that chance, you know.
Well, let me ask you, let's say we're gonna go back in time to 98, I think maybe 96. Paul Heyman never goes on pay-per-view. There's no barely legal, there's no pay-per-view. He stays at the arena, he stays on the East Coast. Once a year, he goes to Florida. That's it. Once a year, Florida. He doesn't come to my town or to South Dakota, but he doesn't try to take over the world. He stays on the East Coast. He doesn't go on pay-per-view. And he runs his show. Vince, you know, he's already working with Vince. It's a farming talent. You know, he's getting people ready. Do you think he would still be in business today?
ECW?
Yeah. Had he never gone on pay-per-view or tried to be so big, if he'd have stayed strictly East Coast once a year to Florida, do you think it would still be around today?
Since Ring of Honor was, I think we would have been. Absolutely. We're still the ECW. Nobody's doing what we did. They try to copy on AEW, but how many times have the tables not broke? Or how many times have they gone through a table and broke their arm or broke their leg or something happens?
How about
we didn't have padding around. Listen, we didn't have padding around our ring, guys. We had fucking concrete. Okay, so when we threw our tables, the tables were made to go through for one reason only, to break our fall so we don't hit the concrete. Because the concrete ain't moving. It ain't gonna budge. It's not gonna fucking move. You're gonna break bones. So for us, We use tables to break our fall because we didn't have padding around the wrestling ring. So I don't know if you people understand that or not. We didn't cut our tables because that means it's going to snap quick and you're going to hit the ground harder. Why? Why would you do that? You don't do that. You don't cut the table because that metal strip around that bottom of that table is going to break your fall. It's going to protect you. That table saved my ass a million times by going through it.
It saved Dreamer. He got thrown off a fucking balcony. Went through about 8 of them.
He went, yeah, I think they had like 6 tables stacked up, 3 on top of each other. He went through all 3. I mean, which was freaking nuts. I don't know if I would have done that. And I did some crazy ass shit.
I'll put Heyman and Bill Watts, probably the 2 best bookers ever, in my opinion. Jim Cornette was a good booker. He redid a lot of Southern stuff. He was a Southern booker. He was good.
He was good down south.
Yeah, he played with that crowd. But
Yeah,
I thought Heyman was a great booker.
He was, man, and he is. I'm sure he's still booking shit for Vince right now. I wouldn't doubt it.
If I was going to open a company today and I needed a booker, I mean, I know I couldn't get Paul Heyman. I would try to get Raven. Raven should be working as a booker.
I think, isn't Raven working for NWA?
I see now Tony Khan has all this money. He loves ECW. Call Raven. Get him to be an assistant booker or something.
I am shocked that he's not there.
Yeah, because it kind of such a mark for him.
Because Raven would do, I know he would do a gimmick with a flock gimmick again. Sky always sat in the corner. He didn't want to work. You know, one time, honestly, no, he wanted to work at one time. I remember I was in Cherry Hill, New Jersey at my cousin, Christian. We both had to put money in together, and he had a gym, and he asked me to come and help him, and we were helping each other at this gym. And Raven came in out of the blue, and he was like, "What's up?" Yeah, and I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, he's like, "I go, what are you fucking doing here? You work for Vince. You're in the office. You know, you have a fucking WWE ID, and you got insurance and everything. You know, because he's the manager. But he wanted to wrestle. Vince didn't want him to wrestle. So I remember he asked me, he goes, "You think you can talk to Paul Heyman for me?" I said, "Listen, I can mention it to Paul, but Todd's the guy. I mean, I'm more tighter with Todd. I've known Todd forever. Todd's God." I mentioned it to him. He was like, let me see what happens. Like, they weren't thrilled by it in the beginning. But then Diamond Dallas Page called Paul Heyman. Scotty was still around because he said he was moving back to Jersey, and he ended up moving into Philly. I was like, you know what? The guy's good. He's got good brain. He's got a good head on his shoulders. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to hurt us to bring him in. If anything, it may help us. And it was a good idea to bring him in because let me tell you, he came up with some great angles, man. I mean, that fucking 2 out of 3 falls that we did in 1995 that set the roof off in that building.
Still talking
going through the tables with me and Anthony and him and Stevie Richards was one of the best matches of that year. And I still, to this day, if the match comes on and I watch it, I still sit back and go, I'm like, damn, I can't believe that. Shit, I got through that match. You know, so many angles throughout that whole match with Fonzie and 911 with the choke slam. And wow, it was big.
When I met him, I was a simple, I just started a website. Hey, I would love to interview you, because I was a Raven mark. I'm not going to lie. When he was Raven, I was the dead of fucking winter. Combat boots that weren't tied. I wore fucking cut off jean shorts. I always wore like t-shirts like he did anyway, but then I would start wearing his t-shirt, had to have a flannel around the waist. I'll show it on the next show. I sent a picture. I got a studded motorcycle jacket that I had him airbrushed on the back of that says, "I feel your pain." I was a fucking mark and a half for this guy. Nice. And when I talked to him, I even told him all that, and he was sincere when he said, I appreciate that. He's like, that is not where I'd heard so many people say, "Oh, this guy's an asshole. This guy wants 10 grand for this." He was a first-class gentleman to me. I don't have anything to say about him.
He's a mad scientist. He's like another Paul Heyman when it comes to booking shows. Scotty always booked his own shit. I mean, look at all these angles he did with the Sandman, with Tommy Dreamer and Sandman going blind, Dreamer with Beulah. I mean, he thought of all these ideas. Beulah was in camp with him. That's
He made
all.
Dreamer. Everybody booed Dreamer until that started.
Scotty had it all up in here, bro. It came out of his brain, man. Believe it or not, I was with him every single day.
Yeah, I
Okay? And we would get up every day, go to here's our Monday schedule. After the weekend, usually Sunday, we would go out Saturday night if we were able to. If we were in the city, we had time, we'd go out. Sunday was a recovery day, pretty much. Monday morning, I remember we'd get up, do what we got to do. I remember we would always go pick up Raven at his house. We would always go by his house because I was on 7th, Anthony was on 10th. Raven was actually on 10th and South. So our gym, we would go to World Gym, which was on 22nd and Sampson. So we had all those blocks to cover, and we would always do that. And it was awesome because we would always work out every day. Sandman would come with us once in a blue moon, but he would sleep in the gym. He wouldn't work out. He would just go underneath the steps, go to bed, and sleep. And we would work out. I remember we would get in there, do a little bit of cardio. And I mean, I'd wake up every day, do 10 miles on the bike automatically without saying anything. That only took me like 26 minutes. And then I would jump, suck down a shake, and then go to the gym with the guys. And then after the gym, we'd go eat. And that was our schedule, every week, every day. And then we would end up meeting at nighttime somewhere at a bar or club. And we would just hang out and drink and hang out with the girls and party and think of ideas of what to do next week. Because I mean, that's what Paul did. He had, we would finish that weekend up and he didn't know what the hell was going on the following weekend. I mean, nobody knew until we got to the arena. And we would be sitting down, and I remember Paul would always pull up a chair and sit at the table, and he would just call people up one at a time and say, "All right, you're doing this tonight, you're doing that tonight." And if he wasn't ready, you had to sit there, and he would do this on purpose because a lot of guys couldn't handle it. They want to know, what am I doing tonight? Because I need to know now. I need to know now. I can't handle the pressure. I would sit back and not give a shit. Me and Anthony would just be like, we're going to party, have a good time, and just chill. When it's time, he's going to tell us what we're doing, and we're going to do it. And that's it. We didn't have to worry about anything. I mean, honestly, we never were under pressure. If a new tag team came in, 9 times out of 10, we were going to wrestle them. I knew that. First night eliminators were there. Who they wrestled? The Pitbulls. First night, the Bruise Brothers were there. Who they wrestled? The Pitbulls. I mean, every team he brought in, from Bam Bam Gordy, the Dr. Death, everybody, we would have to go through them. We'd have to wrestle them. So I loved it because I got to wrestle all kinds of talent, and I learned. I don't care what anybody says. I still learn things to this day. You never stop learning.
Now, when you get your promotion running, I'm going to have to come down to take some bumps.
Yeah, there's a big show, people. Listen to this, man. June 30th, ECW Arena, the 2300 Arena. The Monster Factory is having a huge show. It's going to be a documentary. They're only charging $6 to get in this place. It's going to be the new Monster Factory people versus the older veterans that came from the Monster Factory. So you're going to have some names there. A lot of names came out of the Monster Factory. I mean, there is a poster with at least 25, 30 guys on it that have made successes out of the business from the Monster Factory. And they're having a battle royal, which is not going to be like any other battle royal. This battle royal is not going to have one person at a time. It may have, okay, we're going to do maybe ECW legends. Okay, 3 of us may come out. You see what I'm saying? WWE guys. That's the headbangers. They probably both come out at the same time. So it's not going to be a normal Rumble where it's one person and maybe one guy in the ring. No, it's going to be multiple people coming out. That's going to be the gist of it. It's going to be way different than any other Rumble.
Are they going to have it on pay-per-view like on Fight TV?
I think they're planning to show this on Apple TV event. They're filming it to show a documentary. That's what they're doing. So for $6 to get in the arena to watch a fucking great show, you got to do it.
They should
You
stream
can't
it.
let they. Oh yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what their plans are. I just got the call a few weeks ago. I'm happy to do it because I want the exposure. Like I said, I have a new manager, a new valet, Nikki Knockout Lee, and everybody's got to check her out, man. They got to see her. She's the next big thing, man. I'm telling you now. There's no girl that looks like her now. I don't care. You could look at them all. She's absolutely, her physique is amazing. Okay. I don't compare her to people, but the only person I could compare her to would be China, and that'd be it. I don't see anybody else. Maybe Nicole Bass, but she's way prettier.
Yeah, Nicole Bass was about as attractive as me.
She was a very nice
Kind of looked like me.
She was a very nice, sweet person, though. I remember the first time I met her, she literally chased me out of Queens, one of the buildings in Queens we were at, and she chased me out of the building. I was still in my underwear. And I was just running, man, because I never met her before. And she was just like, come here, Pitbull. And I'm like, oh, shit. I got up running. I remember I still was in my underwear, laughing. Everybody was laughing, man. I was laughing my own self, you know. It was a rip, you know.
Whatever she was on, because she's clearly gassed up. It did a number
Huge.
on her voice. I mean, God, she sounded all that tea that she hadn't been having so much testosterone. She was, and she didn't have boobs. China at least got implants, you know, after she had her, because China was clearly juiced up too. But no, Nicole, I just remember when Nicole popped in ECW and Joey Styles was like, we got to call her Russia because she's a hell of a lot bigger than China, like that, and I love Joey Styles. And I just remember that. That was such a good line.
And he came up with that himself. I'm sure
He
he
was
did.
great.
You know, I mean,
I miss him.
that's one commentator. I don't know how somebody could let him go or not hire him. He's fantastic.
I would, and it's nothing against these people. The mask. I love when William Regal looks at him. Hello, Shivani. Hello, Ross. Hello, man with the mask. I get Excalibur. He knows the names of moves. I'd fire him. Jim Ross. I would fire him. Tony Schiavone, I would keep, but he would be my interview guy. That's all he would do. I would have Joey Styles announcing the stuff and some other up and coming guy. Ross, and it's nothing against him, but tougher than $2 steak. Oh, he played football at Miami State. He was a linebacker. It's done.
It's already been this slobber knocker. It's just been used. I mean, every word that comes out of his mouth has been used so many times already. Come on, I'm tired of hearing it.
This match is bowling shoe ugly. And it's like, oh, it's time for some shiznit, boys. It's like, I heard just like why Lawler doesn't do it anymore. The jokes were funny. We've heard it 1,000. We've heard it for 20 years. New people, Styles would have a field day.
Joey Styles did it all by himself. He didn't need a fucking color guy. He was his own color guy, and he knew every fucking move. What Joey Styles would do is, I don't know if people know this, but when I was there, he would come up to me and say, hey, Gary, how you doing? I'm like, nice to see you, Joey. It's a pleasure to see you. I'm like, have a nice, what are you doing tonight? And he would ask me, what am I doing? Because, and in the meantime, he's writing little notes down. He's covering his ass because he wants to know what's going on before I even get in the ring. He wants to know. That's how he was. I don't see no other commentators do that. I go to shows all over the place. I have one person come up to me and ask me my information. It's the ring announcer. No commentators ask me anything, which, if you're going to commentate my match, why aren't you asking me a question? It doesn't make sense.
I love, and I don't remember what pay-per-view it was. It was, I think, a Heatwave or Hardcore Heaven. And I hated when I think the reason I hate the pay-per-view is they weren't in the arena. That took magic out of it. But Shane Douglas was commentating with him, and Shane was good. When they got to the Ginseng Shinzaki, I think it was Shinzaki and Hayabusa against Van Dam and Sabu. Shane he would have been like me. Shane didn't know what the fuck to call any of this stuff. And Joey Styles noticed that, and about 5 minutes, he's like, you're wondering why the champ is not talking, fans. It's because he's diligently taking notes on anyone who could be a contender. And Shane was like, Oh, yeah, that's right, Joey.
Out of those four, anybody could have been a contender out of those.
Yeah, it was genius.
Dude, like I said, he did his homework where most guys don't. Like I said, if you're on an indie show and you're doing a commentating on the indie show, talk to the wrestlers.
I would.
Nobody comes up and asks me anything. So I don't know what they're saying.
Did I tell you I tried out to be an announcer or a commentator for an indie show?
No, I didn't know that.
I tried. This was a few years ago, and I went, and we got done, and like, okay, he's like, so I said, what does the day consist of? Well, you'll come, you'll help set up the ring. I'm like, okay, I can do that. Help set up the chairs. Everyone's okay. And goes, so now let's get to what is the pay? And I figured, $20, $30. Oh, you don't get paid anything. Well, I'll see you later. And I left.
Because they want you to pay your dues. That's why.
Yeah, I'm.
But you're too old to pay your
from
dues.
9 in the morning till midnight. You're going to give me something because I'm not going to get over. My job is to put you over as an announcer. Well, I'm going to do it for free. I'm not a mark.
Yeah, but people will do it for free.
Oh, and they did. They found like 3 people to do it. It's like, okay, they all suck too.
It's a sad part of the business, man. That's the horrors of the business, I call them. They'll work for nothing, long as they could just get on a show, which doesn't make any sense to me, So
I knew a guy when they booked Damian Sandow, who was he was Ms. Dow. I don't think he might be. I don't know. Anyway, he got. I know he got around $1,000 for his little 8-minute match. The guy that he fought, the local guy who didn't even get put over, he got $12. Shame on that guy for taking $12.
I wouldn't even have took the $12. No, I would have said I can't even take $12 from you.
We have indie guys here that are proud. Like, yeah, a lot of people get paid on the house, not me.
Listen,
I got a contract. I get $25. It was like, well, whoopity fucking do $25.
I remember getting a paycheck once. We were wrestling for Tri-State Wrestling Alliance, which ended up becoming ECW. Todd Gordon was in charge of Make-A-Wish or something like that. It was called one of them big things. And he was the president of it. So when the police would have a party, FOP would usually have a party once a year for the police in Philly. So what we would do is Todd would put on a wrestling show for free. And I remember that night I made a $15 paycheck. And I remember watching JT Smith, who was one of the FBI guys back in the day. And I remember he gave the check back to Todd Gordon. He goes, Todd, I can't take this check from you. It's only $15. I mean, you're so good to us, I don't even want to take the check. Todd ended up hiring him that day to work in his office, his pawn store. Okay. Because upstairs they had the ECW office on top of his pawn place. Stevie Richards used to work there. I think Meanie might have.
JT, of course.
And JT used to. So, I mean, that just goes to show I'm an original ECW guy. I was there before it became ECW. And like I said, Todd had no problem hiring us because we came from Japan. It's not like we were indies and yeah, we were doing indies, but we were also working for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So it was a no thinker for Todd Gordon. He's like, I'm hiring the Pitbull. There's no doubt about it. And that's what when you read his book, you'll see what it says in the book. People will be in shock when they read this book because he's not pulling any punches, man. He's shooting it all the way through. So it's going to be pretty interesting.
I'll give you an example of stupidity on 2 levels. We had an indie here. It's now closed because it was poorly ran and it was fucking stupid. They had a local guy that said, I think that people would love to see me wrestle Orange Cassidy. Number one, I'm in fucking the Midwest. At the time, no one knew who Orange Cassidy was here. AEW just started. No one gives a fuck about this guy other than his parents. He actually told the owner of the company, he said, I'll tell you what, I'll pay. You don't have to pay me. I'll pay Orange's ticket. I'll pay Orange's booking fee, pay the whole thing. And they said, nah. It was like, you fucking idiot. This Mark would have given you all the money to fly a name out here, pay for him, to wrestle him, to job to him, and you're not going to take him up on it. You're just as stupid as him. And that's why they put on 3 shows and they closed.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is pretty much everywhere. There's always going to be that one guy who, he happens to have money, but he don't have skill. So we're all whores in this business. That's what it comes down to. If somebody's going to give me $1,000 to wrestle them, I'm going to take it and I'm going to wrestle. I'm not going to put them over, but I'll let them wrestle me.
Now, I'm not going to say the wrestler, but at a time when I was trying to put money together to actually book a show, I contacted a wrestler. He's a big name. He's on TV. I'll tell you, but I won't tell the audience who the guy is. But he said, yeah, I like you. This guy normally charges a couple grand, but he said, for you, I'll do $700.
That's a good deal.
But if I got to go under, it's going to be 1,000. It's like, so you charge more. Is that common though for some guys if they have to lose to charge more?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, because they're doing somebody the favor. So if that's like if you want blood, you're gonna have to pay more money.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna gig my head for nothing.
We had a match here, two local guys, Taipei death match, very ECW stuff. These two fucking guys bled like pigs. I heard rumor they got $40 a piece. That was their match. And they were using tacks and Legos and barbed wire. Their hands are in glass. They were shredded. It was like $40. That ain't going to pay your hospital bill.
No.
They ain't going to pay anything.
Because they're not getting paid. Like I said, most guys will work for fucking free. It's crazy, man. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
I don't work for free, and I'm not even in the business. But if somebody said, hey, we'd like to see that idiot co-host of yours, Gary, we'd like to beat him up at a show. If they say, I'll give you $20 to get beat up. Okay, that would be awesome. Let's beat you up and you bleed for free. And I can't do that.
No.
You have to get paid.
Nope. Can't do it. It's not going to happen. Yeah, I noticed that. I mean, as I got older in the business, shit changes. You know what I mean? As I'm 55 years old now. So, like I said, I'm watching the new kids come up, and there's a lot of talented kids out there, a lot of talented guys out there. But like even at an independent show, I mean, they'll put a first match on, and I'm used to. I don't want to see a first match. I don't want to see a clothesline. I don't want to see a splash off the top rope. I mean, the biggest move I should see is maybe an arm drag or a hip toss. That's it on the first match, because you start a show here, second match, third match, fourth, fifth, sixth. That's when you get up there, and you start doing stuff. You can't give everybody one match and give them everything in the one match. Like I would see a match with 10 clotheslines in it. I'm like, come on, guys. I mean, you can't think of anything other than a clothesline.
Let's say I booked you to fight. I booked you to fight Brian Cage, and I said, yeah. Gary, Brian, I'm going to need 20 chair shots. Now, if there's 5 matches before you, I'm going to tell in all the matches, don't you fucking use a chair, because if you do, you're gone. You're done, because you have to save it.
It's not going to mean anything when I use the chair, because it's already been done 10 times.
If you're going to bleed, I don't want anybody before you to bleed.
True.
Or anybody after. It's got to make sense. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
I hear you, brother. I'm down. I think we did a good week. Good show tonight.
Oh, and Sunny pleaded not guilty.
Another idiot. She's an idiot. Like I said, people, it's not going to be Sunny in Florida. And she is not Sunny. She's pale white and in jail getting her ass kicked. So.
And her boyfriend's already apologizing to everybody. I mean, this guy's probably like, I got to distance myself from this bitch before I get involved in some kind of.
I mean, she's not going to, look, when it's time for court, her lawyer is done. I guarantee that lawyer already went, see ya, because I'm sure she didn't pay for that lawyer. I'm sure the boyfriend did.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I was him, I'd wash my hands of her. I mean, it's just going to bring bad juju to him.
I would move too. I've already moved, to be honest with you.
People, dude, she killed somebody. You can't do anything worse than that. I mean, it's a fucking mess.
Open container of a vodka, 3.5 times the legal limit. and tons of THC in her system. I'll
Yeah,
overlook the THC. She could have got the high a month before and it would be in there.
it doesn't make a difference. All I know is she was 3 times the limit drunk, and she was behind the wheel, and this is her eighth DUI.
With no license, suspended.
No
sentence,
license.
It is. She's not
And
coming out.
Honestly, they made I think the guy knew that she didn't have a driver's license. I mean, he knows she had 8 DUIs, and what do you do? He let her take his car. He should get in trouble for that.
He's just as guilty as her.
Yes, it's like giving.
Involuntary
It's like if
manslaughter.
I had a pet monkey in my house, and I'm like, give Curious George over here, this monkey, my keys to my car, let him take it for a ride.
It's your fault.
Pretty much what it is. Something's going to happen to that car.
Yeah.
So I mean, him giving her the car, he had to know something was going to happen. So it doesn't make sense to me. So, but I don't want to give her no publicity. Screw her.
Now, I guess to end on a high note, American Horror Stories, the anthology we talked about so much, was renewed. It will be coming back pretty soon. So
yes. Also, people, Pussy Valley's back. It started this Sunday, season 2. Crazy show, man. I love it.
New South Park's up. The Streaming Wars.
Yes, I think I saw some of it. I want to watch it again, though. I got to watch it again.
It does end to be continued.
I actually saw an older one I watched. It was called Black Friday from South.
Oh, you were Randy was the mall cop.
When they were going into they're trying to figure out who's going to get Xbox and all this stuff for Christmas, and I never saw that one. And it was an hour and a half. I was laughing my ass off.
Oh yeah, he figures he's gonna get a job as a mall security guard so he can just get better stuff. Then all these mall people are getting killed and everything. So.
They're all dying and shit. You know what I mean? It's like, oh shit. It's crazy how South Park comes up with shit, man, and it ends up happening.
Well, and before COVID, Black Friday, I mean, people were getting trampled to death. I mean,
it would happen every Black Friday.
It was a big thing back in the day.
I remember that, man.
And now the internet kind of changed that because now it's like, God, that TV's $800. Oh wait, it's also $800 on Amazon.
Yeah, I'll just go on my computer on Amazon and it'll deliver to my house tomorrow. That's what I did.
My son is an action figure collector now. He was looking for a figure. I drove this kid all over fucking town looking for it. I said, there's going to be no more. I understand the thrill of the hunt. I said, come here. Logged on to Entertainment Earth. There's a free plug for Entertainment Earth. And I said, this figure you want? Yes. Click. It'll be here in 3 days. That's how easy it is.
That's crazy, dude.
The statue that I just got. Click. Week later, it was at my house. That's it. Our show, you just go click and you can watch it. Don't leave the house. You can just watch these episodes.
Real quick plug. The Bolts playing today, 3:00. We're down 2 games. We got to win them. Sorry, Rangers, but
oh man, I thought that was a flash hat. I got excited. I was like, I have a flash hat.
Man, the Bolts, bro. Two time.
MJF.
Look at it.
Shirt's getting bigger on me too.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I still look like shit, but I'm getting there.
All right, brother. All right. Peace.
That's it.
I'm happy.